welcome. We're so pleased to have you all here. I'm so happy on this third day of our Wellbeing Academy. We were really looking forward to starting the year with some tips, with some advice, with some reflection on how to make everything work and balanced in our lives with work, with personal life, etc. Today we have a very cool session after the one we had on Tuesday and Wednesday. On Tuesday, you will remember, for those of you who joined us, we talked about positive emotions and positive thinking and how it can make an impact in our productivity. Yesterday, we had a fantastic session where we all reflected and about how to be resilient, and we did amazing contributions to how to solve problems when you are facing a real challenge. So thanks for that. Thanks for being super productive yesterday. I think we definitely all learned from each other. For Entrepreneurship for All, peer learning, it's one of our top priorities. So yesterday it was definitely one of those moments. Today we have here with us our dear colleague Pamela Pokorny. Thank you, Pamela, for being here. She's from EIT Food. I'll give her the floor in a minute, but I just wanted to take a minute to welcome everyone, especially those of you who are joining us for the first time. Entrepreneurship for All is a project that we all love very dearly and that we work very hard to make it a good thing for everybody. For those of us who are in this journey of maybe starting our own ventures, or already in the middle of trying to make it work, or even for those who are very experienced and want to reflect on their journey and how to get better, improve, or change things. Okay, so we have we can share in the chat. We have a fantastic platform, entrepreneurship4all.eu, where you will find something for yourself. Okay, this is the way we have designed this learning journey so that you can pick and choose what you really want. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen 1 second. Please do use the chat, okay, as much as you want. Okay, share about yourself, share your contacts if you want to get in contact with somebody else, your LinkedIn contact. Also, this is about networking as well. So make sure to use the chat as your own personal notebook or your own WhatsApp, like we join to join with others. Okay, so give me a second. I'm going to share my screen just for a minute or so. Are you seeing my screen? Yes, right? Okay.
Yes, we can see it.
This is our learning ecosystem, okay, in which we have a lot of things, okay? But I wanted to show you today that what we are developing is 4 different learning pathways, okay? So far, pathway 1, 2, and 3 are already available. And we are almost finished with pathway 4, so it will be available for all of you very soon. So it's all about the first one is all about wanting to become an entrepreneur. The second one about upskilling you when you're already there, but you want to upskill yourself. And the third one about how to grow your business, facing or dealing with all issues around financial literacy, the sustainability, which is so important, the digital transformation, entrepreneurship, of course. So once you're in there, and please go there today and enjoy it, okay, you will find everything that's inside. Okay, you will have introduction to the course, a little explanation so that you know what to do. However, I wanted to show you today, if I go back to the home, I wanted to show you today that if you're not sure where to start, okay, because our approach has been, as I've mentioned before, to create small bits of learning, as we like to call it, or a micro approach to learning, in which you can use bits of time to learn about something new. Okay, so if you're unsure on where to start, because we do have a lot in there, we invite you to use our course recommendation questionnaire, which is super friendly and fun to do. Okay, where you are just going to answer your questions, and then the system will give you some advice on where to start, okay? On which courses you could start with. If you are stuck and you want to ask us a question, we also have a chatbot, our super special private Entrepreneurship for All chatbot, in which you can ask questions and it will also help you, okay? And of course, virtual reality options, etc., which you will enjoy very much, okay? So make sure to go there and start your learning journey now. So yes, well, welcome again, Pamela. Thank you for being here. And well, the screen, the floor, the mic, and our beautiful audience is all yours.
Great. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for our final session of the Winter Wellbeing. This one's going to look a little bit different. We're going to slow down a little this time. So we're going to do quite a bit of guided practice where we're reflecting on our leadership values and how our well-being is. And we're also going to take some time to do some guided practice into setting goals and have a personalized sort of goal roadmap for well-being. So I'm going to share my screen now with the presentation. Great. So to begin, first of all, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our well-being pulse. So if everyone can either look in the chat and click on the link or use the QR code to answer the question about how is your current well-being on a scale of 1 to 5. This important part of reflection is really understanding where you are at this moment. And the interesting thing about this is your well-being can change throughout the day. So we want to think about where we are right now with our well-being. Okay, we're starting to get some results in. Can everyone see the results? Quite a few results. Remember, this is anonymous. We're going to see an aggregated result. But I think this is really interesting to think about where everyone else is. And some days you can feel a 2 or a 3, poor or average, but sometimes you feel excellent and it changes throughout the day. So having a little bit of compassion and understanding and empathy for how other people are feeling when you're feeling good and maybe they aren't, but also at the same time, if you're not feeling that great, if you're feeling overwhelmed or fatigued, seeing that other people are feeling the same way can kind of make you feel a little bit better, right? Knowing that you're not alone in this. So we have a wide range today, and that's really interesting to think about because you assume that everyone coming to a webinar to sort of expand their journey would be feeling really good today or they wouldn't come. But I really appreciate everyone that is feeling maybe very poor, average for joining us today, because that's really important to think about how we can reflect and maybe lean into that, but also find a way in certain skill set to change those feelings with sort of the resilience that was talked about earlier this week. So I'm going to stop sharing the Mentimeter, and I'm going to go ahead and share again the presentation. First of all, we're going to talk about the goals or the themes of this session. So today we're going to talk about leadership's role in well-being and empathy. And we're also going to do a personalized well-being roadmap. And we're going to do a really interesting exercise where we work on a roadmap together, and then you'll get to do your own. I put a quote on here about taking care of your employees and they will take care of your business by Richard Branson. It's really important to think about your own well-being, but at the same time, the importance when you're thinking about your enterprise, your business, of the well-being of your employees. Now, some of you may be independent contractors, consultants, single person business owners. At the same time, you collaborate with other people. So it's not just about employees, it's about the well-being of everyone you work with all day across your entire spectrum of workplace, right? And thinking about how their well-being, how you can affect their well-being in a positive way. So assessing your personal well-being. Let's look at this Mentimeter and think about one challenge that's impacting your well-being as a leader or entrepreneur. I'm going to give everyone about a minute to think about this and engage with the interactive prompt.
Pamela, sorry, I think I missed it. Was it the same link, the Menti, or is it a different one, a new one?
Should be the same link.
Okay, so there was a second question there, right? Yeah, that I saw.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, so it's the same Menti link that we had before. Lovely.
Okay. So I'm going to share. And can everyone see the sort of word cloud that came up? The biggest
Yeah.
factor affecting your world well-being right now. And it's really interesting, I think, not only to reflect on how you're feeling about this, but to see what is affecting everyone else's well-being, right? Like what is affecting your well-being when it's professional challenges, time management, physical health. Physical health can affect everything, stress, mood, your workload at home, that work-life balance, time management, both at home and at work. So all of these things you can see from other people are affecting their well-being right now. So we're going to go back to the presentation and go through a little few more steps of reflecting on our well-being. So at this point, we're going to do a very quiet guided reflection. It's almost like a meditation, okay? So I want you to just kind of sit back. There's not going to be any questions for you to ask or to answer. There's not going to be any QR codes. What we're going to do is you're going to take a moment. You're going to think about the questions that I'm asking you and really reflect internally about what I'm saying and what you think the answers are and how these sort of issues, challenges, and positives are affecting your well-being. It, it really matters, this exercise, because self-awareness is the first step in improving well-being. And I really want you to know that you don't have to share anything. I just want you to take a deep breath and think about the past few weeks and how you've been feeling in your daily life and work. And we're going to reflect on three key areas. The first one is, how is your energy level on a typical day? There's no need to answer out loud. Just think. How is your energy level on a typical day? Do you feel energized, drained, or somewhere in between? Now I want you to think about which activities give you energy. Visualize in your mind the first things that come up. Which activities give you energy? For me, it can be as simple as walking outside in nature will really refresh me. But for some people, that might be a little stressful. And I also want you to think about, on the opposite side, which activities drain you? What do you visualize when you think about things that are draining for you? Now we're going to shift slowly to thinking about focus. I want you to really reflect honestly and internally on if you're able to stay focused on important activities, tasks, or do you often feel scattered and distracted? What sort of things help you stay focused? And at the same time, think about something that pulls away from your focus. As we move from focus into ambitions, I want you to now visualize your current energy and focus levels. And do they support your goals and ambitions? Do they match where you want to be? Do you feel aligned with what you want to achieve? or do you feel like something is out of balance? As I mentioned, it's really important to take a few moments in quiet and reflection and really take the pulse because it's difficult to assess your well being and understand the well being of your employees without understanding where you are. And as this is a webinar, a session, an academy on winter well being, I want us to all consider how winter plays a role in our well being. Do you notice any changes in your energy, motivation, or mood during winter? Are there any specific challenges like shorter day, colder weather, or holiday stress that impact you? What small adjustments could you make to help stay motivated and balanced during the winter season? I want everyone to take just a few seconds and think about winter and how it affects our well being and really lean into how we feel about that. And now that we've taken a few moments to reflect, I want to explore leadership strategies that can help not just us, but also our teams thrive during challenging seasons. So, the first thing I want to discuss is leading with empathy. Leading with empathy is very important because the idea of empathy is integral into psychological safety for you and your employees. The idea of psychological safety is different than trust. Psychological safety is feeling that you have a safe place where you can take risks and make mistakes without being criticized or humiliated publicly. Right? Trust can be very different. Are you giving others the benefit of the doubt when you take a risk? But psychological safety is, will others give you the benefit of the doubt when you take a risk? This psychological safety is important not only when you collaborate with others, when you choose teams to collaborate with, but also with your employees. If people are working for you and you are a team leader and you are responsible for their professional growth, you are also responsible for their well-being and their psychological safety. And it's really something to reflect on because it doesn't come automatically within a culture. And some people have a culture in their workplace that is really positive and very safe. But sometimes you don't realize that maybe you can do a little bit more to make it feel more safe for your team members. So, work-life balance. We're going to talk a little bit about leadership and employee wellness. How can we encourage work-life balance? This is important for us to reflect on in our own practice, but also for how our businesses look for our employees. It's important because work-life balance is essential for employees' well-being, productivity, and long-term success within the business. So it's really important to set these sort of boundaries to help individuals manage their workload effectively while maintaining their personal time for rest, family, and self-care. Let's look at this Mentimeter and see what's the biggest challenge in maintaining work-life balance. I'm going to give everyone a few seconds to fill out the Mentimeter, and then we'll come back with the results. Okay, I'm going to share the results now. Hmm. Okay, I hope everyone was able to engage with that activity. So we're going to go back to the presentation, the slideshow. So we've got some examples of flexible work policies. And the importance of this with leadership and empathy is really thinking about how employee wellness is affected by workplace policies. Examples of flexible workplace policies include flexible work hours, remote or hybrid work options, compressed work weeks, job sharing, and output based on performance. Now, not only are these important to think about how you work, but also it is important to think about how employees work best. And sometimes it's interesting to think about when we think about entrepreneurship for all and our reflective practice and the entire mission of entrepreneurship for all is to have a personalized learning journey. We can kind of reflect that back in employee wellness and think about how can we make sure that we have personalized wellness policies, personalized work policies based on well-being that work best for employees. Not everyone works the same, right? We don't work the same as our employees at all times. So it's really important to think about and also how flexible these need to be and how they can shift over time when someone has a new addition to their family. Their interest in flexible work policies might be different than they were when they started a few years ago. And the same with you, thinking about you and your own work policies. What sort of flexibility can be built in to ensure that you are ensuring your own well-being? At the same time, when we talk about leadership and employee well-being, we need to talk a little bit about what sort of practical strategies we can have to prevent burnout. And like I said, everything that we're talking about here is not just a reflective practice for ourselves. That is important. We have to avoid burnout in order to continue with our business as entrepreneurs. At the same time, we have to ensure that our employees avoid burnout. So there's some things that we can do. And instead of giving sort of just generic options, because we all know these things, but it's about how do we how do we employ them in a practical way, right? So when someone says, okay, encourage regular breaks and time off, that's great. Everyone has time off in their schedule, right? But what does that actually look like? What sort of policy can you put in place that ensures that people can do this, right? So you could have something like a company enforces focus Fridays with no meetings so employees can work uninterrupted or take breaks as needed. Sometimes you need a specific policy like that. It's like when you have something like unlimited time off. That's just as generic and non-specific as encourage regular breaks and time off. You need a specific policy to ensure that your employees are taking advantage of the sort of well-being culture that you have in your enterprise. And the same works with you. You need to foster that work-life balance for yourself and lead by example. So I want everyone to sort of look at this Mentimeter, and we're going to look at some practical strategies to prevent burnout. And I want you to think about which of these strategies would help you the most. So I'm going to give everyone about a minute to answer, and then we're going to look at the results. Okay, I'm going to share the results from the Mentimeter now. I hope everyone had a chance to answer the question. Okay, we can see that setting clear work boundaries and workload expectations was the strategy that was the most popular. Promoting mental and physical well-being was the second most popular. I think this is really important to think about how all these strategies can be important, but also at the same time be realistic about how many strategies can you actually implement in your daily life, in your workplace, and expect your employees to implement at the same time? And when you start thinking about this, and the same thing with goal setting, is in reality, maybe picking one or two and prioritizing those ones that are most important will lead you to have a more successful work-life balance. Oh, it's changing a little. I like how everyone's doing this and we're getting to see some different answers. So, fostering work-life balance with flexible schedules. This is really important as the world is going back to work from office. Thinking about flexible scheduling and how you can do the work in any place at any time. Certain work, it is really important to think about, and how much this can actually impact well-being in that work-life balance. I think also setting clear boundaries and workload expectations is something that everyone struggles with. I know I do. And being able to say no to certain things and prioritize what you need to say yes to is something important. And I think from this, at least, looking to see that these two things are something that are strategies that everyone else thinks are important. Maybe it's something that I should also implement in my daily work. So I am going to go back to the presentation and we're going to continue on our guided practice. So now I want you to think about a scenario. We're not going to answer any questions. This is another self-reflective, quiet moment. Imagine this. Please read along with me if you'd like. Your team has just wrapped up a huge project. Weeks of hard work, late nights, and countless meetings have finally paid off. The client is thrilled. The results are impressive, and the company benefits from this big win. But what happens next? Do you move on to the next task without acknowledgement, or do you take a moment to celebrate? I think this is really, really important to think about. I think it is underrated and probably one of the most important things when you think about working as part of a team and working as a leader: recognition and engagement. I know so many of us move from project to project, task to task, and don't even take the time to celebrate successes for ourselves, much less with our team members. I want everyone to sort of take a moment and think about this. I know you can think of times that you've done a task without acknowledgement, and you think you should have been acknowledged. And how did that make you feel? Did you even take a moment to celebrate yourself, or were you thinking about how no one noticed how well of a job you did? What can you do culturally within your workplace to encourage this sort of celebration and recognition of achievement? At the same time, when it's not recognized, how can you take a personal moment to celebrate? And in what sort of ways can you acknowledge that you did well and maybe encourage others in the same way? Recognition shouldn't be an afterthought, right? It should be part of our daily work culture. When we think about leadership and employee wellness, one of the most important things, as I mentioned, when you're a leader, is making sure your employees have a work-life balance, that they have a positive well-being, that they feel appreciated and engaged. When we talk about these different experiences with recognition and engagement, making it specific, timely, and meaningful is one of the most important things you can do. Receiving feedback 3 months later about a project is nice, but it doesn't help as much as someone who immediately receives positive feedback. So let's look at this scenario. Imagine Sarah, a team member, who worked late nights to finish a project ahead of schedule. Her manager acknowledges her hard work a month later in a passing comment. How impactful is that? But imagine now if he would have sent her a quick email, copied in the leadership, and then shouted out in a team meeting. Which one would make Sarah feel more engaged, more recognized, more appreciated? The biggest takeaway from this is that appreciation works best when it's immediate and personal. At the same time, when you think about yourself as an entrepreneur and a lot of solo entrepreneurs, that self-appreciation is the same. When you finish a big task or project, if you're the only one working on it, still take a moment immediately after you're done and think about how well you did and really, really lean into that. So the next thing we're going to do is a guided practice. We've talked a little bit about empathy and leadership, and now I want people to take a moment to create a personalized well-being roadmap. One of the great things about this webinar is that we have a chance, the time is carved out. We are going to use this time to create a personalized well-being roadmap. Everyone says, oh, I can do this at some time. I'll put it on my list. It'll be the next thing I do is think about my well-being, set goals for my well-being. And I know what's going to happen. That's going to go all the way down at the bottom of the list, right? So today we're going to take a moment, right? We have about 20 more minutes. We are going to create a well-being roadmap. The first thing we're going to do, let's start with step one. Okay, I want everyone to think about it. And we have a link. I'm not sure if Megan's able to share it, but I have
Yes, I
some
can
guided.
do that.
Yeah, so I have some guided notes, and it's a template that you can use. It's a Word document, so you can edit it and fill in, and it kind of sets you up for this roadmap. It's a template that you can use to think about this. You can go back to it. You can use it just today and forget about it, but you won't because some of it's going to stick with you. That's why we're doing the guided practice. This is the one thing I learned as an educator. If you work through it together, it's more likely to be something that a learner, and in this case, everyone in this webinar, including me, are learners. We're lifelong learners. Will take away, right? So the first thing we're going to do is define our well-being. That's why I wanted everyone to take a pulse at the beginning. We were able to reflect on where we are, and now we can think about defining our well-being at this moment. You can think about your physical, mental, and emotional states, as well as your social well-being. And if you're able to open up the document, I'm not sure if people are, there's a spot for you to reflect on your well-being, your current states, and it has some guided questions on physical, mental, emotional, and social well-being. Now, the next thing we do is we identify a leadership well-being goal. Now you can do personal goals. You could do a physical goal, a mental goal, an emotional goal, and a social goal. But for the purpose of this exercise, because in this session we're talking about leadership and empathy and how to be a leader, even if you're a solo practitioner, how to be a leader within your collaborative groups and the people that you work with. We're going to think about a leadership goal. So I gave an example, and how we're going to go through this exercise is I'm going to sort of give examples, and then I'm going to give everyone a few minutes at the end to kind of do the same thing themselves. So let's go through it together. We're going to define, say our goal is we want to model work-life balance for your team by setting clear boundaries around after-hours communication. That's my goal, right? As a leader, I want to make sure that my team understands this is what we were talking about before, not having these general sort of cultural policies. Oh, we have flexible work policy, flexible communication policy. No, you need to say, you need to model it. You need to model these boundaries because if you're not doing it, they're not going to do it either. And they're not going to see that it's okay to do that, right? So our goal for this purpose is modeling this work-life balance by setting clear boundaries around after-hours communication. This guided practice, it's going to help you reflect really on your well-being, right? And we want to think about this leadership related goal as a way to support your own well-being also. So let's clarify why this goal is important. First of all, leaders set the tone for the team culture. Like I was saying, if I don't respect the work-life balance, my team will neither. It also reduces burnout for both me and my employees, leading to a healthier and more engaged workplace. And by modeling balance, I increase trust and productivity in my team. This is just one goal, right? One goal we're focusing on. And it's important in all these different aspects, right? Because as employees, as collaborative humans, when we work together, we work in a system. You're never really working alone, even if you're a solo practitioner or a single business owner, you are working with other people. So thinking about that empathy, thinking about how everything is affected that you do with others, it's really important to think about why these goals can help us stay motivated and committed. So the next thing we're going to do after we identify why it's important is we're going to use AI to develop an action plan. Okay, so we have, and I have also included this in the portfolio of resources for the sessions. I have a few different prompts that you can put in to an AI chatbot, whether or not you use Claude or ChatGPT. One of the great things about AI is that it is an assistant. It can help facilitate some of the more difficult tasks that we have. And one of these things it's really good at actually is creating sort of goals and roadmaps in a way. And you can go through and edit it in. But also, one of the important things about AI literacy is understanding the prompt and how important the prompt is and making sure that you have the right prompt. So what I did for you to make it a little bit easier is I've given you a few examples of prompts that you can cut and paste based on your leadership goal into the AI chatbots, and it will come up with an entire plan for you, right? So in this prompt, I have a leadership goal, and I said this, right? Model work-life balance for my team by setting clear boundaries and after-hours communication. And then the prompt asks for a structured daily plan. Specifically, these are the things that I've looked through research are most important when you think about longevity of a well-being action plan. First of all, daily practices. What small habits can you implement daily to reinforce this goal? So what we're looking at is which small habits will reinforce this work-life balance by setting clear boundaries and after-hours communication. The second one is weekly check-ins, right? We really need to think of ways to sort of stay accountable, right? And ways that you can check your progress and maybe see the lack of progress and regroup and think about how you can be accountable for this. And also I added in accountability and support because any strategy you're doing or any goal or any roadmap, it really helps out when you have people who can keep you committed to the goal. So if you look on the template that I provided, it also gives you an opportunity to mention one person that you think could keep you accountable for this goal. So I was going to do an exercise where I put the prompt into the chat and shared the screen, but I think everyone knows how to use a chat, right? So what I want to do actually for the next 4 or 5 minutes, I want everyone to do this activity themselves. Like take this 5 minutes for yourself, okay? Come up with a leadership goal, right? Cut and paste the prompt in the Word document and create an action plan for your well-being roadmap for one goal, just one goal, and see what you can do and see if this is viable. So it's going to be a little quiet for a minute, so don't think we're gone, but I really want everyone to take this time and do this activity. If you have any questions, please put it in the chat. We're going to have about 2 more minutes. I hope everyone's getting a chance to do the prompt and read through it a little. Okay, I'm going to go back to the exercise. If you need more time, can you please put in the chat that you just want a few more minutes? I'm really happy to wait because, like I said, this is your time. This is your moment to create the beginning of your roadmap. And I really want to make sure that you take the time that we've carved out for you.
Think this is a very interesting activity for us to do, Pamela, and I've certainly got some lovely responses there. I see, Abrima, you've also been working on a case study version of this. So take all the time that you need to work on this, and remember that you can always come back to it later. I think if anything that you've taught us, Pamela, it's that we can come back to these things, you know, maybe in a moment of stress, in the middle of a meeting, it's hard for us to think, what is my goal? What do I want to achieve with this? But we can certainly come back to them. Thank you, Pamela.
Yeah, and I think it's really important to, and I've said this over and over today, I think it's really important, but it is important. You know, this is why we're doing this. Well-being is important. Workplace, work-life balance, these sort of things for ourselves, for our employees, for the people we collaborate with all the time in different teams across all of Europe or the world. Like it is important that all of us are sort of feeling our best and able to really engage with our work in a way that doesn't impact our physical or emotional health, right? So the last thing I want everyone to do, and this is a kind of a big deal, this goes back to accountability. I actually think this is the biggest deal. And you know, there's this saying like it doesn't mean anything till you say it. So I want everyone to write a commitment pledge in the chat. I want you to write a well-being commitment statement for everyone to see. So if you have something really personal, maybe don't share it, but I'd really like everyone to write something that they're going to do today, start doing today, that you've sort of engaged with during this session or you've been thinking about, or maybe just a cut and paste from the chat response. That's fine too. But I'd like to see those chats coming up with a commitment. And I think everyone should go back and read how everyone else is making a commitment to, right? And get some ideas from other people's commitments about how you can make different sorts of goals. Do
Thank
I
you,
have,
Pamela. Thank you for this
yeah.
opportunity. You know that these 2 days, well, actually before we started, when we were preparing these sessions, and we went through all of these techniques that we know are important for us, but even we don't really make it part of our routine. These 2 days, honestly, have been different for me. Just acknowledging like every morning my goals and trying to achieve them, and then at night understanding that I did achieve things. Yeah, some I didn't, but some I did. And celebrating that has put me in a different mood to start over the next day and accomplish more. And that has been a big change for me. So yeah, these reflections have been fantastic today. Thank you.
Thank you. I think I'm going to be honest with everyone. I was feeling very overwhelmed earlier today because I've had all sorts of projects due and grant bids and things like this. And even just going through the guided practice with you guys together has already changed how I feel. And it's really made me step back and think about not only just for the rest of the day and the rest of the week, but for the rest of 2025, like how am I going to do things differently when it comes to that sort of coexistence between my workplace well-being and my home well-being and how I can create that sort of balance. So I just want to thank everyone for being here too, because I actually needed that more than I think I did. So I really appreciate everyone. Okay, so I think Marianella is going to talk a little bit now about um, what's coming up next for Entrepreneurship for
Yes.
All.
Sure. You know what? I wanted to actually share because this is something that we're doing with much love. Today there have been many a few questions and concerns about, hey, I want to reflect more, I need more time, I would love to come back to these and do it over and so on. So I'm just going to show you. We're going to share, of course, the link and also the QR code. We share it yesterday, and we will and the day before, and we will today. But I wanted to share with you, because we've been putting together a very nice, we want to call it toolkit, but it's really a little bunch of resources. And thank you, Megan, for making it so accessible and beautiful for us. And please do save it. What we are doing is that from every, of course, you have some general links here, okay, to our website, to our learning paths, and to our community, to our LinkedIn community, which you're all welcome to join. But then what we did is that we have a section for each day of the academy, okay? So for example, the first session was all about positive thinking. And we have here identified some courses that you can go and you know, enjoy and learn from. So we have direct links here for you to go to these courses that are all about the entrepreneurial mindset and the positive mindset, okay? And we have taken a few things from that first session, okay? A few videos as well that you can go through to remember what we talked about, so that you have it there at hand. Also some very interesting articles, studies, even some very amazing researches that we found. Okay, so you have the links here to all of that. And so you have a lot to go through, and also bits from the session. Okay, so for the second session, which was yesterday, and it was all about resilient mindsets as well. We have identified some courses, okay, especially about the we were a bit sharing a lot about how to come back from a financial setback, let's say. So we have identified some courses for you that you can go straight there and enjoy them, some bits from the session as well, and again some very nice articles and blogs, etc., that we found. Okay, and we are doing the same for this session today that Pamela has so fantastically shared with us. Okay, so we are sharing that on the chat. Okay, and I think that also, please, where is my page? Here we go. For those of you who have not joined our Entrepreneurship Academy community, please do so. The idea here is not just to join and forget about it. We wanted to find a space in which we could all really share. We could chat to each other. We could, why not, promote ourselves and what we're doing and share our challenges with us, and also our successes. Pamela has been, you really made me reflect today, Pamela. I almost cried when you were reflecting about how we do not really celebrate our own successes, you know, and sometimes we just dwell on the fact that, hey, they didn't notice and they didn't congratulate me. But what about ourselves congratulating ourselves? So honestly, this is a space where we can also share our successes. Okay, so please join us. Okay, coming back to what's left, I think we have a little favor to ask. Okay. Oh, sorry, I just came from the beginning. Sorry for that. Click on the wrong one. Here we go. Okay. If you could take literally 1 minute and scan on this QR code, please do so, because Entrepreneurship for All, the whole project and our academy is about catering all you need, all you want to learn about, all you want to share. So please go there. It's super short, to give us a bit of feedback and to tell us what would you like in our next sessions. Okay, So use that QR code to do that. You can do it on your phone. It's literally a couple of questions, only that will be very helpful so that we can prepare new things for all of you. Okay. And our next academy will be in March. And we are going to dedicate it to women's entrepreneurship. We are already preparing some very interesting things for all men and women. So here's the link and also the QR code so that you can start registering to that. But of course, more information is coming. We are working on it. Okay. Now, because we have a few minutes left, and this is all about sharing, we would love to know if you have any questions or maybe you want to share what you experienced today or on any of these 3 sessions this week. Let us know. Megan.
Just before we jump into the questions, and of course,
Yes.
I welcome those questions. We've had a few messages in the chat today asking about, can we have the video recordings? Can we have the resources, etc.? And just to let you know, yes, we will share all of these items with you. I think we've got lots of things to share with you. Of course, Marianella has shown you there the resource pack. There's a lot in there, but there's a lot more as well. That links to the platform, the recordings, etc., etc. There's lots to come. Give us a little bit of time to upload those videos for you so that you can watch them easily, and that should come through to you next week. Okay. Thank you, Marianella.
Lovely. No, thank you, Megan, because I know you're putting a lot of effort into making everything beautiful for us and easy to access. So thank you for that. So please feel free to open your mic and tell us how you feel. I'm honestly super relaxed. Thank you, Pamela. I needed this so badly today. We have homework as well, things to do, things to reflect on and things to do and things to incorporate. So thank you for this. So use the chat or open up your mic. If you have a question or something to share, please do so. Well, I think then we can say goodbye. Thank you for being here with us, for sharing, and we'll see you soon. You are welcome. Come and enjoy the learning, enjoy the virtual reality, enjoy all the opportunities and different things that we are creating for you. Join us on LinkedIn and tell us all about yourself. Okay? Thank you, everyone.